Hello traders, I'm Luke from Disciplined Trader. In this video, I want to run you through my own trading setup and give you some advice on how you can build your own. I don't have the fanciest setup in the world, but I'll let you know the things I'm glad I did, as well as the things I'd wish I'd done or not done when putting this setup together. So let's start with the chair. This is a Steelcase Let's Be Task chair. It's a solid chair with adjustable height and arm supports. I haven't owned many desk chairs, but I can really recommend Steelcase as a brand. I've had this chair a few years now, and it's still going well. You may notice as well I have a memory foam cushion on the chair. This is because it helps me stay comfortable for long periods of time. This again was a good purchase and can be picked up from Amazon for around £20. Staying on the theme of comfort, I also have a memory foam foot cushion which acts pretty much as a footrest. Again, this helps keep me in a supported and comfortable position whilst I'm at my desk. This was a little bit more expensive than the seat cushion and can again be picked up from Amazon for about £30. Over to the main part, the computer itself. I have a Hewlett-Packard ProDesk 600 Tower PC. It came with an Intel Core i5 processor, 4GB of DDR3 RAM, 500GB hard drive, and an onboard graphics card. I picked this up a few years ago now for around £600–700. Since then, I've upgraded the RAM to 8GB, added a 250GB solid state drive, and installed an Nvidia GTX 960 graphics card. If you aren't particularly computer savvy, these upgrades weren't that expensive, and they're not particularly difficult to do yourself. I upgraded the RAM and hard drive purely to increase the speed and performance of the machine. I specifically chose the Nvidia GTX 960 graphics card as it supports up to 4 monitors, which we'll look at shortly. I'd say all in all, I've probably spent another £200 on computer upgrades over the time that I've had the PC. I'll talk about these more at the end of the video. Moving on to the desk, I picked this desk up from an office furniture shop local to where I live for about £200–250. I went for this desk as I like a lot of room to work on, and also prefer desks that sit in a corner as this makes it easier to utilise all the desk. It's definitely not much of a looker, but I choose usability over aesthetics when it comes to a desk any day. Looking at the peripherals now, nothing too fancy here either to be honest. I have a standard Hewlett-Packard keyboard. I stuck with this mainly because I like the tactile feel of the keys. I've always intended to buy a proper mechanical keyboard at some point, but this keyboard keeps working fine, so why change something that's not broken? Then I have a Logitech Proteus Spectrum G502 mouse, a mouthful I know. I think I picked this mouse up for about £50, but its price changes all the time. I chose this mouse because nothing infuriates me more than a mouse that doesn't work well, especially when you're trying to put a trade on. It's a wired mouse, so there's no need to charge it or change batteries, it tracks well, and I do like to do a bit of gaming in my downtime, so this is obviously pretty good for that too. Underneath these two, I have an extra large mousepad. Again, this is just for convenience. I find this much better than a smaller mouse mat, and my desk is big enough to have one, so I might as well. I think I picked this up for about £15. Briefly looking at the rest of the items on my desk, I have a phone stand for my Pixel 2, data cables coming from a USB hub under the desk, and just some general stationery items. I have a headphone stand supporting a pair of Audio-Technica ATH M50X headphones. These were more than I thought I'd spend on a pair of headphones to be honest, coming in at around about £100, but they are well worth the money. I use them a lot for editing and just generally listening to music and videos and things. Highly recommended if you're in the market for a pair of headphones. Looking at speakers, and I'm using Bose Companion 2 Series 3 desktop speakers. If you just want some speakers for general use, then I highly recommend these. The sound is fantastic and you just plug them in and they're good to go. I think I picked these up for around £70, and again, they've lasted pretty well. I then have a Rode PSA-1 microphone stand holding a Blue Snowball microphone. This is the mic that I use for all my live trading videos and any voiceovers that I do for videos, including this one right now. I think the microphone is brilliant and I picked it up for about £40–50. If you wanted to spend a little more on a mic, I've heard very good things about the Blue Yeti as well, although I've never tried it. The mic stand I bought purely for convenience. It cost about £60, and there are cheaper alternatives, but to be honest, none of them came close to this one. It's really stable, doesn't make any creaking noises, easy to adjust, and it stays exactly where you put it. Again, I'm very happy with this and would definitely recommend it. For video when sat at my desk I use a Logitech C920 HD webcam. I think I paid around £50 to £60 for this a year or two back, and I've been very pleased with it. I think the video quality is very good, and it even has a built-in microphone. The audio can sound a little tinny when you use it, but it's useful to have a backup. Moving on to the main aspect of what makes this setup easily identifiable as a trading setup, and that of course is the monitors. I'm using 4 Acer K22 HQL 22-inch monitors. These are not the flashiest monitors you'll ever see, but they have served me very well so far, especially considering I picked them up for £75 each. I've had them for about the same time I've had the PC. One of them needed repairing within the manufacturer's warranty, and one developed a screen issue about a year later and I just replaced it. I seem to recall buying them from some sort of closing down sale from an online retailer, which is why I got them cheaper than normal. The last part of the desk is the unsung hero in my opinion, and that's the monitor stand. This is the Lavolta 4-arm monitor mount. I picked this up from Amazon for about £60 with mixed expectations. However, this is a very good piece of kit. It's extremely well built and sturdy, and has built-on cable clips to make managing cables super easy. It's not the most attractive monitor stand on the market, but I'd be very happy even if I paid double what I paid. And that's it. That's my trading setup. I didn't buy everything we've covered here in one go. It has been a work in progress where I've added and upgraded parts as and when I can and needed to. But I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're thinking about building your own setup or making changes to an existing one. So let me give you some advice based on my experience. Point 1. Don't go overboard. If all you plan on doing on your machine is trading, surfing the web and answering emails and so on, then you don't need a super powerful PC. Something with an Intel Core i3 processor, or similar, with 4 to 8 gigs of RAM and a decent hard drive will do just fine. If you want to use only one monitor, then the onboard graphics card will deal with this no problem. However, if you want to use a multi-monitor setup, then you'll probably need to buy a standalone graphics card. Again, don't go overboard with this either. You'll find when looking at the graphics card, these things can be very expensive. All we need ours to do is to provide multi-monitor support, and that isn't that taxing for them. Look at the older models and find one that supports the number of monitors you want to use, and go with that. Then obviously, use the advice we covered earlier in the video to make sure that it's compatible with your other parts. Point 2. Ask yourself, do I really need 8 monitors? Or however many you're thinking of using. In truth, I probably don't need 4 monitors. I've become very used to having all that screen real estate, but it's not a necessity. When I come to changing my setup, I will probably opt for 2 larger monitors instead of 4. Point 3. If you are going to have a multi-monitor setup, take care when buying a graphics card. As I mentioned earlier in the video, the card I use wasn't that expensive, and there are definitely cheaper alternatives if needed. Just make sure that when choosing a graphics card, you're sure of 3 key things. Number 1, it fits in your machine. So make sure your motherboard has the correct slot to support it. It's usually a PCI Express port, although you can make sure on the specification page of the card you're looking at online. And also, make sure that there's physically enough room within your PC case to house the card. Some of these cards can be pretty large. 2. Make sure it supports the amount of monitors you actually want to use. Again, this can be found on the specification page of the card you're looking at online. And 3. Some cards need an extra power supply if they are particularly powerful. So make sure the power supply in your machine has the extra wattage to power not only your graphics card, but the rest of the components in your PC as well. The specification pages of these cards usually not only states the power needed for the graphics card, but also recommends a minimum overall power supply for the PC, and this can be used as a really good guide. They also tell you what type of power connector the card will need, so you can make sure that your power supply has the correct one. Adapters can be used if needed. Point 4. Now we've talked about making sure the specification of your graphics card is compatible with your machine. An easy thing to overlook though is to make sure the outputs on your graphics card can be matched with the inputs on your monitors. For example, my graphics card has one HDMI output, 2 DVI-D outputs and a DisplayPort output. My monitors only have a DVI-D and a VGA input on each. Therefore, I had to buy 2 DVI-D to DVI-D cables, one HDMI to DVI-D cable and one DisplayPort to DVI-D cable. This can get really tricky when you're dealing with 4, 6 or even 8 monitors. It's much easier when you're dealing with less. Point 5. If you haven't got a use for it, then don't buy it. I have a drawer in my home office and a box in the garage with a whole host of things I bought and never used, purely because I thought they looked good at the time. Save your money and put it towards something that you will actually use, like a better PC or a monitor. Point 6. If you are thinking of building a PC from scratch, use a website called PC Part Picker as a starting point. It has a comprehensive list of PC parts and components and will tell you which parts are compatible with others. It can be a huge help. And the last point, remember who this setup is for. It's easy to start buying certain things because someone else likes them or recommends them, but this setup is for you, so make sure the things you include suit you. For example, the first desk I bought was a very narrow rectangular desk that I bought purely because I thought it looked good. It lasted 6 months and then I had to get rid of it, as I hated working on it. I bought the big bulky corner desk I have now and I love that desk. And that pretty much covers everything. You're now ready to build your own trading setup. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any other questions, or if you have any other tips, advice or trading setup stories. I'd love to hear them. I hope you found the information in this video to be useful. If you have, please consider leaving a like on the video. It helps other people who are looking to build their setups know that the video is worth watching. And also, if you haven't done already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Everything I upload on this channel is aimed at making people better and more informed traders. Thank you very much again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.